Hey everyone, Mr. Justin here at the Hernando County Public Library System, and thank you so much for joining us for another science video. This week in our story time, we read all about bedtime and bedtime stories. So this week's science video is going to be all about something we might see at nighttime. So if you go outside, you look up in the sky, if it's a clear night, what can you see? You can see stars, right? You can see stars. But what are stars? Stars are actually giant spheres of super hot gas made mostly of hydrogen and helium. And what's kind of cool is while most of the stars we see at night, we can actually see a star during the daytime because our sun is a star. I think it's actually the closest star to the planet Earth. But when you look up in the night, all the cool little stars that we see are actually giant spheres of super hot gas. And you can see sometimes you may have heard the word constellation. Well, constellation is kind of a group of stars that kind of make a shape. So years and years and many years ago, people have kind of mapped out the stars and they kind of formed their own little shapes and they called them constellations. You may have heard of some of them before, like the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, Ursa Major, Orion, or my favorite, Cassiopeia. I just think that's a fun one to say. And so you can kind of figure out where you are in the night sky when you look up and see what constellations or what stars are above you. And throughout the year, depending on what part of the year you're at, you're going to see a completely different night sky. So it's going to change depending on the time of year. So if you're out here and if you're in March, the month of March, and you look up and see your night sky, it's going to be completely different in September because it's 6 months, 6-month difference. And so all those stars that you saw back in March, that's now going to be kind of behind the sun because of the way we rotate around the sun. That takes a full year. And so the night sky you see in March will be completely different than the night sky you're going to see in September. So you'll see different constellations and star shapes as you go throughout the year. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of make our own little night sky, and if you want, our own little constellations. So what you need for this is you need what's going to work best will be little paper cups like this. You can use plastic cups. You can't use clear ones. That's not going to work for this little activity, but you can use like the red cups or blue cups. You can use those. Those will work. You'll just need something a little sharper than a pencil. You also need a sharpened pencil just like this and a flashlight. So again, you may have seen the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper before. They're going to look a little bit like this, each made up of several stars. And so what we're going to do is we are going to take our pencil, we're going to poke holes in the cup. And you can either do it, you can find shapes of constellations online. I made one of Orion right there. You can even see Orion's belt. And here I just poked holes in a cup to make kind of like a little night sky. So what you can do is you can look for, either find a book or find a website that'll show you different constellations. And then you can poke holes in your cup to kind of match what that constellation looks like. Now, eventually you're going to shine a flashlight and it's going to kind of do it reverse. So on this one, Orion's going to come out a little reverse. So if you want to take your stars and kind of try to reverse it in your head on your own so it's going to look like the actual constellation when you shine a flashlight through it, you can do that. If it's a little too complicated, don't worry about that too. I am going to go ahead and make the Little Dipper. So I'm going to start with poking a hole. I'm going to try to reverse it too, and I don't know if I'll succeed, but we can try. So I'm going to poke a hole right there. And like I said, I like to use pencils and go a little deeper in, a little further in, just to make a little bigger holes because that's going to be a little easier to see when you do shine the light on it. So there's our first hole. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my second hole. Do my third. I don't have a whole lot of room, so it's not going to look perfect. But it'll look fine. And let's make the holes a little bigger. And there we go. We have my Little Dipper right there. I'm going to make a Big Dipper also. I'm going to poke one hole. Like I said, I'm just poking the holes in. Oh, well, that one didn't turn out well. That's just going to be my little night sky one. I did the wrong direction. So let's do that one more time. If you have a bigger cup, obviously you'll have more space to make it. Right here, these cups are a little on the smaller side, so I was kind of limited. So there's my Big Dipper right there. and there is my Little Dipper right there. And so now what you want to do is you want to make sure you have a dark room, room that you can close the door and you can't see any lights, or you can do this at nighttime also in a room that is dark. And you want to take a flashlight, and then you can just kind of go ahead and shine up on the ceiling like this. If you do it directly like that, you're not necessarily going to be able to get the best image. You're going to get kind of the flashlight and the cup. So what you want to do is kind of do it at an angle and look up, and you can actually see the light shining through the holes that you created in the cup, and it kind of projects up on the wall or up on the ceiling, so it looks like you have stars in your room. And if you did a constellation, it looks like you have that constellation. So here it looks like I have, which one do I want to do? Let's do this one. So it looks like I would have the Little Dipper up on the ceiling of my room. And again, it works best in a very dark room because you're dealing with the flashlights. And the bigger the hole, the more obvious it's going to be on it. Again, you don't want to shine it directly, but kind of put it at an angle like that. And again, if you have your little night sky, you can do that too. You will see the stars all on your ceiling. And the bigger the cup, the more stars and holes you can get on that too. So again, when you look up in the sky and you see the stars, those are actually giant spheres of super hot gas, and then people have kind of mapped the stars out over the years and have formed what we call constellations. And so you can use the cup and a pencil to make and a flashlight to use your own, to make your own night sky, or to make your own constellations that you can shine on the ceiling of a dark room or of a room during the nighttime. So I hope everybody had fun with today's science video. Again, we talked all about stars and constellations, and thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all later. Bye.